My name is Kevin Friesen, interim leader of the Keystone Party of Manitoba. Let me introduce the Keystone Party as Manitoba's newest, but only provincial party dedicated to upholding the rights and freedoms of all Manitobans. It is our mission to create a stronger Manitoba, united by respecting the culture and diversity of individuals through an accountable and sustainable government. We, the Keystone Party of Manitoba, believe that the potential of Manitoba is unlimited, and our goal is to protect, serve, and guide every Manitoban toward a healthy lifestyle, economic prosperity, and freedom. A very wise man once said, and I will quote, "Perhaps you and I have lived too long with this miracle called freedom to properly be appreciative. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. And those in world history who have known freedom and then lost it, never know it again." This man went on to say that government is a people's business, and every man, woman, and child becomes a shareholder with the very first penny of tax paid. Now, I've paid a few pennies in my short time here in Manitoba, but I've learned that we are not idiots. Manitobans are innovative. Manitobans are careful. Manitobans are caring. And for the most part, Manitobans are respectful people. And that is why we earned the right to place friendly on our license plate. Allow me to quote again. "Now, the path we chart is not an easy one. It demands much of those who are chosen to govern, but also from those who did the choosing. And let there be no mistake about this. We have come to a crossroad, a time of decision, and the path we follow turns away from any idea that those in government and those who serve in government are omnipotent. Now, this path is impossible for us to follow unless we have the collective wisdom and the genius of our people. Along this path, the government will lead, and it will not rule. It will listen and not lecture. This is what the Keystone Party of Manitoba choose to follow. I encourage you to have a look at our website, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, at our 8 basic principles in which we have built the foundation for this party. These principles, along with a constitution like no other party constitution in Manitoba, will allow you as Manitobans to have your say. This party, if brought to legislature, will lead and not rule. It will listen and not lecture. And finally, it will build up and not tear down. A constitution that keeps every leader accountable is something that has never been instituted here in Manitoba. A constitution that allows you, Manitoba, to truly have your say at the grassroots level. And this is unprecedented. Just as every Manitoban is entitled to a voice in his government, he should certainly also have the right in the very personal matter of earning a living. Lastly, in this short speech, I want to briefly mention the fiscal responsibility that this party will stand for. You may have heard this story before, but I want to compare our financial situation here in Manitoba to the situation of a jetliner out over the North Atlantic. It's Paris-bound, and the pilot announces over the PA that he has some news for the passengers. He says, "I have some good news and some bad news." He says, "I'll give you the bad news first. We've lost radio control and contact. The compass and altimeter are not working, so we don't know our altitude and the direction we're headed." Then he said, for the good news, "We have a 100-mile-an-hour tailwind and we're 1 hour ahead of schedule." Now, we're halfway through a majority government that has just elected a new leader. This government has promised to deliver, but it is only mandated. It has stopped businesses from paying their bills to the point of bankruptcy. It's divided marriages to the point of divorce and broken relationships of every friend, neighbor, and business partner to the point of tattletaling and ultimately suicide. This government has been faced with a medical challenge, but it has only continued to make our medical system weaker. On the other side, we're faced with parties that only want government to get bigger and make more decisions for us. This side of the Legislative Assembly would like to control all aspects except what they should have been governing in the first place. Keeping infrastructure intact, making sure justice is served. These should have been foremost in the government's minds, not arresting pastors and destroying businesses. As a wise politician from the 60s once said, a time has come to run a check and see if all the services that the government provides were an answer to our demands, or were they just goodies dreamed up for our supposed betterment? Well, Manitoba, the time has come to match outgo to income instead of doing it the other way around. A less intrusive government will allow us to balance the budget that needs to be balanced now, not in 5 years. What party is even trying to do this? In closing, I'd like to come back to a line that we sing in our national anthem. God keep our land glorious and free. Now, no generation has fought longer and harder for the freedom or paid a higher price than the one that we just laid in the grave the last 40 years. Folks, our destiny demands more. We have a choice to make Manitoba the Keystone Province of Canada, the province that others model their policies after, a place of unlimited opportunity, a place where prosperity is not squelched but watered so that it may flourish. I believe in this province, and I ask you to believe in this new party, the Keystone Party of Manitoba. Let this nightmare end and let the dream begin. Ladies and gentlemen, the Keystone Party of Manitoba.